This is fascinating. Starbucks launched a new energy drink today. It's called Iced Energy. And it's the same amount of caffeine as 6 cans of Coke. It's true, and it's now available at every Starbucks, just in time for Joe Biden to shoot it up his ass before the debate on Thursday.
Big round of applause for that one. That is Martin Short. He's a Canadian, filling in for Jimmy Kimmel, who I think may be in rehab. Nobody's really entirely sure, nor does anyone really care. Now, what's he going to do with it? Who knows what's going on up there at Camp David? They turned the cameras off there, too. Just like during the FBI raid at Mar-a-Lago, where the FBI turned the closed-circuit TV cameras off. Rosemary Woods, ring a bell? Anybody? The Nixon tapes, no big deal. When you're a Democrat, it's not really an issue, is it? Well, happy Wednesday and welcome. It's hump day, in the Clinton household. Hillary has to get out of the house. Lickety-split. Got to get out of there. Even though she's waking up once again face down in a pool of her own dried vomit on the linoleum kitchen floor with an empty 1-gallon cardboard box of cheap New Zealand Chardonnay next to her. Quite sad. Secret Service standing over her, knuckles on the hips, shaking their heads. Tisk, tisk. Oh, what might have been. She thinks it might still be, though. She thinks that it's not game over yet. She's definitely not a game over person. She's got a lot more in her. None of it good, but she's looking to get it out. And Bill, hump day, the Energizer Bunny or somebody's gonna show up today. And Secret Service just kind of nods, winks, keeps an eye on things. It's not really their job to, the rest. But amazing stuff. It's hump day, and it's the day before debate day. We got the big presidential debate tomorrow. Going to be the most watched debate in debate history. And you can watch it on Newsmax TV. You can watch it on News. You don't have to watch CNN. For God's sake, don't watch CNN. Why would you start watching CNN for the debate? Nobody would. Nobody's going to. It's going to be kind of funny that they're hosting it, and lots of other channels are going to get higher ratings for the CNN debate than CNN will get, which is great and humorous and funny, and what a wild, wild world it is. Nutty, nutty stuff. We've got all kinds of great stuff for you today, once again. And I tell you, we did some great stories on my Newsmax show last night. I mentioned Newsmax twice now. On my Newsmax show last night, The Right Squad at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. That'll be 7 o'clock on the West Coast most of the time. Although the West Coast is thinking about changing the clock, too, and just making it some random thing from outer space. But it turns out we learned, by way of documents, Judge Eileen Cannon, in the documents case against President Trump, one of the Democrat Party's lynch mobs galloping up on horses with ropes, the Democrat thing, wearing masks. They're not on our side. But we learned, and why did we not learn this until now? That when the FBI got there, the famous photograph and or photographs of the classified documents arrayed out on the floor at Mar-a-Lago, and photographs taken with the classified and top secret cover sheets on the stacks of documents, and the FBI set up a magazine rack where a couple of the magazine covers were photographs of President Trump. And the FBI put those in there. They staged this photograph, and it was clear they staged the photograph, but we learned a bunch about the FBI's corruption by way of new documents that make it clear that the classified document cover sheets, the top secret cover sheets, they might be red, they might be orange, they were not in Mar-a-Lago. The FBI brought them with them, and then they went rifling through cabinets and things. They didn't do this when they were going through Joe Biden's garage behind his Corvette and finding the file cabinets full of classified documents there, because they're Democrats, and every Democrat is a crook Every Democrat is corrupt. Amazing stuff. But at Mar-a-Lago, the FBI brought the cover sheets, the classified cover sheets, top secret cover sheets, and the FBI, put them on the stacks of documents that the FBI laid out. I have no reason to believe that they're actually classified documents at this point because they didn't have the classified cover sheets. I'm familiar with these classified cover sheets. I was at the Pentagon for 10 years, and they're kind of everywhere there, everywhere. And the FBI laid those out. Then they took the pictures. Then they gave them to the media. Some people say leaked. I don't think it was even a leak. They provided them to the media because they were trying to paint, and successfully, I might add, the most negative picture they could, the most negative portrait of Donald Trump. Oh, look, he's got all these classified stacks and stacks of classified documents with the classified cover sheets on it. How could he not know they were classified? Here they have the classified cover sheets on them. But wait, it gets worse. So they brought the classified cover sheets. They put them on the stacks that they arrayed on the floor. They put the magazine rack with the Trump cover stories on them because they thought that would look embarrassing, that he had magazines in his own home where he's on the cover of the magazine. That's supposed to be humiliating, embarrassing. And then, wait, it gets better. The FBI turned off the surveillance cameras in Mar-a-Lago. The Mar-a-Lago is a big place, and they've got a lot of security and Secret Service and the former president and all that stuff. So the FBI ordered that the employees at Mar-a-Lago shut down all of the closed-circuit TV, CCTV, inside of Mar-a-Lago while they were plundering and looting the place and going through Melania's underwear drawer and maybe dressing up like Melania. We will never know because they had the cameras turned off. So if they were, dressing up as so many Biden administration officials do, they might have, the men might have dressed up like women, and the women, who knows what they do, I hesitate to guess. But they turned off the video cameras. And it turns out, I did some research this morning, President Trump and Trump people were in New York during the Mar-a-Lago raid, but they were watching online the surveillance cameras. And they said, wait a minute, they just turned off, the FBI just had the surveillance cameras turned off, the CCTV turned off. And President Trump had his lawyers go into Mar-a-Lago, or lawyer go into Mar-a-Lago and say, well, you've turned off the CCTV, turn it back on. Well, that took 25 minutes to turn it's the president's residence under Secret Service protection. And the FBI came in. They brought their own classified cover sheets, which didn't exist in Mar-a-Lago. They put the classified cover sheets on the photo op, on the staged is the correct word, photos that the fake FBI, corrupt organization that it is, that they laid out. And they took the pictures and they provided them to the media. It's not a leak. It was a corrupt act deliberately designed to undermine President Trump. And they turned off. Now, does anybody remember, maybe read some books on Watergate? And Richard Nixon was a president of the United States some time ago. There was an incident involving wiretapping the DNC headquarters. Now, of course, the Obama administration wiretapped James Rosen at Fox News and James Risen at the New York Times, and they wiretapped and surveilled the Associated Press, and they spied on the Senate Intelligence Committee, and they stole emails, and they hacked, and they lied to the FISA courts, and they did all kinds of stuff that make what happened in the Nixon years look like child's play. But during the Watergate scandal, a White House secretary named Rosemary Woods was blamed for making 18 and a half minutes of audio tape from the Oval Office disappear. I don't know whether Rosemary Woods was guilty of anything, but she is, her name has gone down in infamy. She is notorious because she was in the White House and 18 and a half minutes of audio tape disappeared. And in the Washington Post newsroom, I think the last time they mentioned that was probably yesterday. It's such a big deal. But now we learn that the FBI, they made the video disappear for 25 minutes while they were dressing up in ladies' clothes and staging photos designed to undermine President Trump. Filthy, rotten, dirty, crooked, corrupt FBI agents that went into Mar-a-Lago. How many? 30 of them, I believe, 30 of them, raided the place, and they brought their own classified documents. They staged the photos. They shut down the surveillance cameras. We have a 25-minute gap that I've got to say makes the Rosemary Woods, and there was never clear what happened to the 18 and a half minutes or what was on the 18, but they've turned it into a big, fantastical, imaginary crime of some kind, Rosemary Woods. And now we have this. And again, with Democrats, it's like it's no big deal. Isn't that amazing? Watergate was nothing compared to what the Democrats do pretty much every day now. Isn't that amazing? Yes, sir. Also, speaking of left-wing radical miscreants, left-wing radical miscreants during the St. George Floyd of fentanyl, during the burn the country down Democrat Party rage, where dozens of people were murdered, quite literally. And they injured thousands, literally, of police officers and billions in property damage, according to the insurance industry. And there were some left-wing miscreants, anti-police. Democrats are anti-police. They're pro-crime. So many of them are criminals. Naturally, they're pro-crime. But a bunch of Democrats, in this case, 4 Democrats sued. They were vandalizing police barricades with anti-police graffiti, and they were arrested for that. And it's not like they went to jail for years or anything, but they were arrested for that. They got a slap on the wrist. And they sued. Yesterday, a jury of their peers, because they're all mentally ill in Seattle, a jury of their peers gave the 4 protesters $700,000, which happens a lot these days. The Democrats burn your house down, then they sue you, and they win because they got a jury of their peers who are mentally ill, drug-addled, transgender criminals who are anti-police. So the 4 protesters awarded $700,000. Isn't that great? Because they were arrested, and it's a violation of their First Amendment rights, to do the anti-police graffiti in the middle of a riot. And if you arrest them, then you will pay. Isn't that amazing? More crime, send more criminals. Just amazing stuff. Yes, sir. And I got a lot of good, because the big debate is tomorrow night, and that is a big deal. And radical left-wing extremist terrorists at Mediaite. Are they terrorists? I've seen online that they are. House Republican compares Biden to dementia patient. Well, doesn't everyone? I mean, come on. I just read a thing a couple of minutes ago. Warns he'll be jacked up on Mountain Dew for the debate. That could be the case. We'll have to see about that. Vanity Fair magazine, Trump suggests Biden debate prep includes cocaine and steroids. Cocaine. Why wouldn't it be? It's the Biden family after all. And Hillary Clinton wrote a piece in the New York Times, and they published it. Unlike, they didn't want to publish Tom Cotton when the Democrats were rioting, Senator Tom Cotton. But Hillary Clinton, they'll put that in there. And Hillary Clinton says, I've debated Trump and Biden. Here's what I'm watching for. That's just quoting a little bit of the New York Times piece from Hillary Clinton. She's got advice. Now, if you're taking advice from Hillary Clinton on anything, really, much less debating Trump, maybe you should be looking for something else. But she's got a lot of advice. Hillary Clinton does. She's still waiting in the wings. She's got a blow dart gun. She's waiting for Joe Biden to walk near a concrete stairwell because she's got plans. Amazing things. I've got Trump-related things for you, too, because the Trump-appointed judge, I love they always identify as Trump-appointed judge, but not Biden or Obama-appointed judges, because the news media is the most corrupt institution in America, scolds prosecutor at documents hearing. And, more. The corrupt FBI, just terrible, just horrible. We've got that and election results. It turns out the racist, anti-Semite Democrat Jaamal Bowman was defeated in the Democrat primary in New York in the 16th district. Turns out I was born in that district and as a kid lived in the New York 16th, went to school there. Stuff didn't even learn that until yesterday that was his district. And we are at 888-630-9625. Washington, D.C. Democrats advancing reparations because they're nothing if not racist. Well, greedy racist, selfish racist, dishonest racists. Apparently, I owe somebody money based on their race because racism. Of course, it's their racism, but never mind that. I'm gonna have updates about Jaamal Bowman, fire alarm Bowman. That's coming up as well. He lost, which is kind of a miracle. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Chris, calling from the Garden State of New Jersey. Christopher, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, how you doing, Chris? Yeah, what I told the call screener was apparently the Democrat Party in New York is racist. I mean, where's the DEI when they put an old white guy and get rid of the black guy? I don't understand. This is the party that talks about how, we're racist as Republicans, but all they're doing, like in New Jersey, right, we have a governor, and the next year's race, then the lieutenant governor is black. She will not be the candidate, and they talk about, how they're for DEI, but they completely step over people of color, right, which is, which they purport to be, for, and here they are spending $20 million to get rid of, a vocal supporter.
Yeah, Jaamal Bowman. Yeah, that's true. Lots and lots of money spent to get Jaamal Bowman out of there, and they got George Latimer. George Latimer won the Democrat primary in the New York 16th congressional district, and you're right, of course. The racist, anti-Semite, fire alarm pulling, hate-filled radical extremist squad member Jaamal Bowman is out. And what possible explanation could there be other than Democrat Party racism, right, Chris?
That's all there is. I mean, what else could there be? I mean, and think about how terrible the Democrat Party in New York is. They're going to tell all these people of color that voted for Jaamal Bowman that, nope, now you got to vote for Latimer.
And just sit down and shut up. All right, let's get to some... Guys, we're talking about Jaamal Bowman, who's a racist and an anti-Semite and an America-hating mental case who pulled the fire alarm up on Capitol Hill with the apparent intention of disrupting a vote on a spending bill that he had an issue with because, Democrats, they're kind of kinky in all sorts of ways. But Jaamal Bowman lost his big race. Why do you have to bring race into it? But they had the primary in New York 16th district, and I took it. I was a very small child when I was born, and very young at the time. And my mother was there. I remember that was an important part of my birth, and I wanted to be close to my mother at the time. So I was born in Bronxville, New York, and then we lived in Pelham Manor, which is kind of just across a bridge from the Bronx, New York. And when Jaamal Bowman was yelling and screaming and cursing and MF and F and S and all this stuff because Democrats are keeping it classy, and don't forget about groping the transgender children in first grade with the twerking transgender story hour stuff. And they're really not very well, these people. But I yesterday... And I lived in Pelham, New York, only until first grade. I did kindergarten there. You had to do 2 years of kindergarten. And then in New York at the time, I don't know if you still do, and first grade. And I was going to OLPH in Pelham Manor, Our Lady of Perpetual Help Catholic School. and middle of first grade. And then we moved again. We moved to Chicago from Pelham Manor, New York. And that was in first grade. In first grade, I had already moved once, twice. That was my our third move, for a complex set of reasons. But never mind that. I learned yesterday, he was screaming and yelling in the 16th Congressional District. I went and I looked it up on Al Gore's amazing internet, peace be upon him, and found out that Bronxville, where I was born, is in the 16th Congressional District, where Jaamal Bowman was the congressman. Pelham Manor is in the New York 16th Congressional District. So this is my childhood congressional district. I did not realize that until I actually looked it up yesterday, but that's not important right now. Jaamal Bowman, we were playing a lot of Jaamal Bowman. Let's go to his cussing up a storm in the Bronx over the weekend and using all kinds of unsavory language, unbecoming of a member of Congress, which he presumably will not be going forward, hopefully at least. But he was screaming and yelling at a psycho crowd because they're there to support him. And you had AOC out there slathering all over him, giving him a tongue bath. And Bernie Sanders, the communist, they're both communists. They're communists. They call themselves whatever they call themselves, but they're Bolsheviks. They're Soviet-style communists. They lie like communists. Honestly. But Jaamal Bowman over the weekend in New York.
We are going to show AIPAC.
The Jews, AIPAC.
The power. Of the South Bronx.
Of the MF South Bronx. He's not in the South Bronx. It's not even the South Bronx. It's 16th, doesn't go into the South Bronx. But the truth is not their friend. So they lie all the time. And he's okay, right? Because he's just a Democrat. Did I mention he's an African-American man? He's an African-American. So you can't be critical of him. Otherwise, you're a racist, because that's what the party of the Confederate States of America and Jim Crow do. That's their thing. That is their bag, baby. Jaamal Bowman, who lost his primary contest yesterday in New York.
You want the March thing that was yelling in the halls?
Cousin, well, I guess we can live with the cursing in the Bronx. You may remember, and this is kind of a funny moment actually, Congressman Massey posted when he learned that Jaamal Bowman had lost his primary contest. It was a funny moment by Congressman Massey, who posted a great clip of video that we played at the time. We played here on the radio at the time. And it's Congressman Massey walking through the halls of Congress. But there's Jaamal Bowman, his colleague, a Democrat, a radical, a vicious, Jew-hating, anti-white racist Democrat, kind of a typical Democrat. And Congressman Massey was walking through the corridors when he encountered none other than Jaamal Bowman. And Jaamal Bowman was just standing there screaming and yelling at the top of his lungs like a severely mentally incapacitated, crazy person. And Congressman Thomas Massey grabbed that video yesterday when he learned that Bowman lost and posted it on X. He said, with the video, he says, "I'm going to miss our informal chit-chats in the hallways." And he's being facetious. He's being tongue-in-cheek, is Congressman Thomas Massey. And a funny little post, I've got to say, with this mentally disturbed, severely, I think he's a danger to himself and others. He's violent and vile and vulgar, and a lot of other V words too. But good for Thomas Massey, Congressman Massey, posting this video reminding us of Jaamal Bowman and who he is. He's the fire alarm pulling lunatic who you may find, and there are people standing around looking at him like this is perfectly normal. There are TV cameras around and passers-by, and this was Congressman Jaamal Bowman screaming and yelling in the halls of Congress when Thomas Massey walked up to him to ask him. He's screaming about guns because Democrats keep shooting people. Democrats should not be allowed to own firearms. And if you are found with one, you should get life in prison, I think, without parole. This was in the hallways of Congress. Congressman Thomas Massey, the normal person, Congressman Jaamal Bowman, the frothy, racist, anti-Semitic Democrat.
They're all cowards. They won't do anything to save the lives of our children at all. Cowards. Pressure them.
Abortion.
Force them to respond to the question, why the hell won't you do anything to save America's children? And let them explain that all the way up until election day on 2024. Let them explain it all the way up to election day on 2024. They're freaking cowards. They're gutless. They're not here. I'm talking about gun violence.
He's talking about gun violence. This is last year, in March of last year, and he's very angry that Republicans won't ban guns and put everybody in detention camps because, you know, Deutschland über alles. Pretty amazing guy. And Congressman Massey stopped. He saw him screaming and yelling, and he knew that he's an idiot and that everything he was saying was mentally ill and was completely wrong. But this fun shouting match did make a lot of news at the time.
That allows teachers to carry.
Oh my God. Carry guns? You think more guns lead to more death? More guns lead to more death.
Pause that a second. See, Congressman Massey is pointing out that if you allow school resource officers, that is police officers with firearms in schools, and they're present in the schools, then the children are safer than they are if they don't have any school resource officers in schools. There have been some school shootings. You might have heard something about that. And Congressman Massey is saying, well, look, the children will be safer if you allow teachers to carry guns once they get certified, and school administrators, and if you allow school resource officers in schools. And the demented, mentally ill, racist, anti-Semite Jaamal Bowman was screaming and yelling at the top, and he wasn't yelling at anybody, he's just yelling. And Congressman Massey was walking by and saw him having this mental meltdown and tried to engage him in a rational conversation and explain to him that there has never been in a school shooting in a school where there is a resource officer present or where you allow teachers and administrators to carry concealed once they're certified to do so.
Look at the data. You're not looking at any data. You're carrying the water for the gun lobby.
I don't think you can have a rational conversation.
Good states that have open carry laws have more death. States that have open carry laws have more death. Are you listening to what I'm saying?
Say it again.
Calm down. Children are dying. 9-year-old children.
Well, stop shooting them. Maybe Democrats should stop shooting everybody. And then he walked around the corner and cheered for Planned Parenthood funding because he cares very deeply about the children. It's the children that Jaamal Bowman cares so much about. That and transgender twerking story hour for kindergartners. The Democrat Party is this guy. This guy is the Democrat Party. These people are unwell. They're completely insane.
Have you ever worked in a school? 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 Listen, that's my question.
I'm sorry, what's your question again?
You will not answer my question. Don't stop and talk to me.
Doesn't really have much to do with whether I work in a school or not, but Jaamal Bowman, that's your Democrat Party. It's that was March of last year. The news media loved Jaamal Bowman, and we're hating on Congressman Thomas Massey, who is, of course, a Republican, and he's from Kentucky. And he stopped to talk, to have a rational conversation with him, but that's impossible because he's not a rational human being. He's an irrational human being, and he's a Democrat member of Congress, and he just lost his primary yesterday. So, you know, yay to the people of the New York 16th Congressional District, the Democrats, and they voted for a white guy, which makes them all racists, as we know, because only a racist would vote for a white guy when you have the option of voting for a black guy, and he's already your member of Congress just because he's completely nuts. Now, Jaamal Bowman went on television. He went to a rally when he learned that he had lost his primary last night, and he went out to concede. And Jaamal Bowman now he's like, oh gosh, maybe I shouldn't have been saying mamma jamma and F this and mother that, and because it got him more attention than he's ever gotten. Well, at least since he pulled the fire alarm.
I want to make an apology, public apology.
Make an apology.
For, sometimes using foul language.
Sometimes.
I'm sorry.
Ha 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 ha. Oh, ha ha ha. Somebody should yell at him that he's this and he's that, because this is where they're dragging us. These filthies are dragging us down the hellhole of civilization. They're murdering our civilization. This is the third worlding of America. This guy is effectively a third world figure, and the whole squad really represents the third world, from Bernie Sanders on down. AOC and the whole gang with the Ilhan Omar. She's still married to her brother. What happened to that? It's good to be a Democrat, isn't it? Because, when you're a Democrat, you can marry your brother to cheat the immigration system, and it's not even a story. Isn't that great? It's like Ted Kennedy killing Mary Jo Kopechne, then going to brunch, and then the Democrats decided to run him for president. Because it's good to be a Democrat. And the New York Times was like, yeah, Ted Kennedy for president. Jaamal Bowman then decided it was still okay to attack the Jews because AIPAC spent money to defeat this virulent anti-Semite in his competition, his primary contest. So it's still fair game to attack the Jews.
We should not be well adjusted.
What?
To a sick society.
You're the sick part of our society.
We should be outraged.
Outraged, be angry.
We should be outraged when a super PAC of dark money
Jews
can spend $20 million
14 million
to brainwash people into believing something that isn't true.
To tell the
truth. We should be outraged about that.
To tell the truth about you. To brainwash. It's the Jews spent money to brainwash people. The Jews are always doing that. That and controlling the weather, like in Washington, D.C. with Trey White. Amazing stuff. And Hillary Clinton came out and supported the other Democrat, George Latimer, who's a white man, which means Hillary Clinton is a racist, and I don't care if she carries hot sauce with her all the time or not.
We should be outraged.
He's outraged.
When, unfortunately,
Jews,
some so-called Democrats are aligning themselves with radical, racist, right-wing Republicans.
Hillary.
We should be outraged about that.
Hillary, radical, right-wing, racist Republicans. You guys should bring back your Jim Crow laws, don't you think? All Democrat laws, every Jim Crow law, Democrat law. It is, that's Jaamal Bowman. That was his concession speech. Then he set a police car on fire, looted the CVS, and went home to someone else's wife. That is your Democrat member of Congress, Jaamal Bowman. He hates you. It pretty much doesn't matter who you are. Amazing stuff. Yeah, that's this is our Congress 2024. If only we had a news media. You know what the news media is really upset about today, though? That Lauren Boebert won a primary contest, and the media is angry about that. But they're fine with Jaamal Bowman. Hillary Clinton is now a racist, and no amount of hot sauce will get you out of this one, backing George Latimer. How dare you? I'm still going to get back to the Mar-a-Lago FBI corruption. The FBI should probably be disbanded. It's a third world Soviet-style operation, and I'm going to share with you the details on that. That's still coming up. The esteemed congressman from New York. I'm telling you, yeah, I look forward to pounding what the FBI did at Mar-a-Lago that we just learned about. I wonder if they speak Russian down there at the FBI headquarters. It's pretty amazing what they've become. Let's go to the telephones, Michael. Let's go to Mike calling from Sunshine, Maryland, which sounds like a very happy place, doesn't it? Mike, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
It's a great place, although it's in Montgomery County. Thanks for taking my call, Chris. You know, leftists, they don't want to lose political power other than one of two ways. Either they want to die in office like Dianne Feinstein and probably Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, or they want to they'll lose political power by being thrown in jail like half of the ex-mayors of Chicago. When they lose political power at the ballot box, they lose their marbles because they don't believe in the fact that political power is inherent in the people. That's the bottom line.
Well, I think that's true because, as I like to point out, Michael, they're not liberals. These are not liberals we're dealing with anymore. This is the left, and the left has no interest in a fair fight or a level playing field or losing when they don't get enough votes. They only have an interest in securing power and then abusing it, of course, because they believe that's what power is for. And as one of Barack Obama's guys said when he was in office, they essentially agree with Chairman Mao Zedong, that all power comes from the barrel of a gun. And that is a quote from a member of the Obama administration. And of course, the Obama administration, Anita Dunn woman, also said her favorite political philosopher is Chairman Mao. And they just want power, right? And look what they do with this power. They're doing everything they can to dismantle the United States of America, to make the U.S. unrecognizable. And if 12-year-old girls are being raped and murdered by illegal aliens that they waved into the country, they quite honestly don't care. It would be impossible for them to care less about the murders of Laken Riley and Ruby Garcia, and the list grows and grows. But they care very deeply about George Floyd, a career criminal drug addict who died of heart failure because of all the drugs coursing through his system. Democrats.